People have often asked me, because I am a former homeless man with about 10 years of street experience, people have often asked me, what is the best way to help the homeless? And I've almost always said there is no one direct answer for that. If you feel like giving them money, give them money. If you feel like giving them food instead because you're afraid they'll spend the money on alcohol, then do that. If you don't care whether they buy alcohol and you feel like giving them money, do that. If you want to take them to a shelter, do that. There's no one way. Or at least I've always said that. But I've given this some thought over, the last couple of years. And I actually do think there's one thing that we as a society could do to help the homeless that would actually be the best possible way to help the homeless. It would make more of an impact than anything else. And here's what it is. People who work in any kind of charitable, what do you call it? Charitable economy, where they help the homeless, or they're working with paraplegic kids, or they're working with anybody that needs help in any sort of way. For whatever reason, these people are expected to live in total poverty. They're expected to make $6, $7, $8, $9 an hour, while the corporate businessman who doesn't do anything to help anybody and screws us all gets to make millions of dollars and nobody says anything about it. Wouldn't it be nice if those who have a heart for the homeless, or a heart for those with cancer, or a heart for anybody who needs help, if they were allowed to make a good living doing what they do without being accused of being a con artist? For me, I would love to set something up where I said it like I could be like somebody who collects donations for the homeless, right? And let's say I collect $1 million a year. I give $500,000 a year to various homeless organizations or homeless people or whatever, and I keep $500,000 a year for myself. Why couldn't I do that? Why can't somebody who wants to help the homeless do that? Because, yeah, you're keeping $500,000 and you're paying yourself a salary of $500,000, but you're still giving the homeless $500,000 a year. That's more than most people combined will ever give to the homeless, or to people with cancer, or whatever. But the problem is everybody would come out of the woodwork saying that you're a con artist and you need to go to jail and you're misusing funds and this and that. Why can't we make helping people profitable? There's a whole lot of people out there that would love to help the homeless, that would love to help those who are mentally slow, that would love to help those with various diseases. But they'll never do it because they know that they're only going to make like $10 an hour if they work a job like that, and they can't support their families on that. If they were allowed to make a good living off the donations that come in, you know what would happen? There would be more people out there with jobs that help the homeless and help other people that need help. And you might just wipe out homelessness because there would be so many people working those jobs because now they know they could at least make a decent living. And there would be more resources out there for the homeless, for anybody else who needs help. Not just the homeless, but like I said, people with cancer, whatever. People who need help with their hospital bills, whatever. Why can't you make a good living collecting donations for people who need help with their hospital bills? Why do people got to accuse you of being a con artist if you keep a lot of that money? If you raise $500,000 to help people with their hospital bills, and you keep $250,000 of it to pay yourself a salary that year, you're still giving the other $250,000 to those people who need help with their hospital bills. That's more than any one person out there will ever give to anybody. So instead of calling that person a con artist, thank that person. He's found a way to make a good living, and help people. But we can't do it right now because of the mentality of society. This society thinks that if you work in a field like this, where you work in a homeless shelter or you work as some kind of social worker or whatever, you shouldn't make more than $30,000 or $40,000 a year or whatever, and you shouldn't be able to pay yourself a salary off that like donations or whatever. Why not? Why can't people who help the homeless drive nice cars and live in big houses and enjoy their lives? They're the people who deserve it more than anybody else. So that's the best thing we can do for the homeless. That's the best thing we can do. We got to stop thinking, change our mentality about those who are trying to help the homeless and those who are trying to help other people. We got to get out of this mentality as they're not really wanting, this mentality that tells us that if somebody is making a lot of money by helping somebody, they must not really want to help those people. Get rid of that mentality. That's the best way you can help the homeless. Because if we were allowed to be profitable, if people who want to help the homeless or want to help people in general were allowed to make a good living and make it profitable for themselves, then there would be more people in that line of work, in those lines of work, which would result in more people getting helped. So that would be a win-win for everybody. So next time you hear that some social worker, kept some more charitable funds for herself, don't judge her. She wanted some good things out of life. So what? She's still helping way more people than you ever will. But you're going to look at her like a con artist? Meanwhile, you've never really lifted a finger to help anybody? No. We got to allow these people let's inject a little bit of capitalism into the sector of the economy that is there to help people, whether it's there to help the homeless or people in hospitals or whatever else. Allow people who have a heart for people to make a good living. That's the best thing you could ever do for the homeless, and that's the best thing you could ever do for anybody who needs help, because if it's profitable, there's so many people out there that want to help the homeless, that want to help other people who are down on their luck. But again, they won't do it because they'll be stuck making $30,000 a year for the rest of their lives, and they know it. Working at the Salvation Army store for $10 an hour. You can't feed your kids on that. So yeah, that's the best thing we could ever do for the homeless, and that's the best thing we could ever do for anybody who needs help, is to allow those who want to get into the business of helping people to engage in a little bit of capitalism and make some real profit for themselves while they help people. Because that will attract more people who want to help people, because they can make a good living helping people. And then there will be so much help out there that you could probably wipe poverty out. But we got to change our mentality first. That's all.